We have Dr. B. N. Ramesh, who is the Inspector General and Director of CRPF Academy, Gurgaon. Kindly come on the stage, sir. Ramesh, sir. May I invite Mr. Amay Abhyankar, who is the District Magistrate of New Delhi. Okay. And I will invite Shri Rajesh Agrawal, Secretary IT of Government of Maharashtra, who is with us just now. Kindly be on the stage, sir. And I will request him to chair and moderate the session also. Sir is the Principal Secretary IT. Sorry, I missed the designation. May I invite B.V. Mishra, who is the DDG of Narcotics Control Bureau, Government of India, on the stage, please. D.V. Mishra, welcome on the stage. Abhishek Kumar from Axis. Since like Abhishek has to leave, he has a flight, so I will straight away invite Abhishek on the dais to start the presentation. And I will hand over the session to Rajesh with certain conduct.
Good evening to all of you, and I am here to speak on one more word which is added to the smart city we have been listening from morning, and that is the smarter, safer city. So I am here to speak on the safety aspect of the city, and it is more important for a smart city than a normal city, because generally in smarter cities or in higher metropolitan cities, there are more and more high value people, and they are much more to loot than you generally have in a small village. Second, you also have the in today's smart city which are going in around our existing cities, you also have a condition where there is this big second-hand sale market. So whatever you loot, you can very well dispose it off, which is not possible in a Class B or a Class C city. In fact, I come from Bombay, and one of my friends at Bombay still drives a Maruti 800. And when he is not getting his parts, he just goes to there is something called a chore market. So he goes to the chore market and he gets the parts. So he has many vintage cars also. He drives the very old Ambassador which opens from the old side. Right? And Bombay people have a passion for having vintage cars, and at least one vintage car in their houses. So that is the kind of stuff which is available in a pilferage market, and which is not available in a normal dealer showroom today. So I am going to touch upon the technologies on how do we improve the protection of citizens, facilities, critical infrastructure, both from the natural as well as man-made threats. I come from a company called Axis, and we are a 30-year-old company innovating in different products. In fact, most places where I visit, people first ask me, are you from Axis Bank? I say no. Second question comes is, are you linked to Axis Bank in some way? I say no. Do you provide communication support to Axis Bank? We say no. So we are not actually related to Axis Bank in any way. We have been an IT company right from our start in 1984. Focused on innovation. Most of our products have been, the its own industry. And one of the most important products today, which is widely used, is cameras. And we are the companies who made the world's first IP camera in 1996, which is like digital CCTV camera, was first made by Axis in 1996. We are a Swedish company, and if you look in terms of our track record right from 1984 to until last year, almost every couple of years we have launched something which is very, very innovative for the industry in itself. So we have products which are like the complete range of cameras and the software to support it. And now we come to the safe city. There is no smart city if it is not safe. And as we look in any smart city, when we look at the center, that is the place where there is the maximum frequency of incidents. So even if you talk of Singapore, the downtown of Singapore is the place which is one of the most highly protected and highly, the surveillance in that downtown area is the highest, right? When you are trying to enter into the downtown, you are automatically charged a fee for getting into the downtown of a city like Singapore. And the same is true for most of the cities across the globe. So the size and density are also high at the center, and especially in larger cities, the crime rate is high. Because if you look in terms of the per capita deployment of the machinery, it's very less in Bombay compared to a village. You know, a village may have how many 2,500 people, and it may end up having maybe one big police station with 3 or 4 police guys. So there is at least one police guy every 500 people in a village, and he will know people by their name. But if you talk of a city like Bombay or a Delhi, you know, there is one policeman for every 4,000 person living in the city. So the scale is so big, right? In Delhi you can commit a crime and you can go to Ghaziabad, or you can go to Faridabad, or you can go to Noida. And even the vehicles, you can drive it from this place to the other part of the city. While if you are talking of a small city, in a small city, people will even know the car and its number, right? That okay, he's a renowned doctor of this city and this is his car number. So the challenges in a smart city and in a bigger city are much more when it comes to security and safety of the people. So what are these challenges? One is of course the 4 AM, you can have unauthorized access into your society, right? So you need to be fully aware 24/7. Now I will give you a small if you look at the picture on the right hand side, you will generally see most of the cameras giving a view very similar to this, which is an IR view, but with a very innovative light-minded technology that we have in Axis cameras. And once I activate it, you get a much more colored picture and much more clearer picture. It becomes more and more important when you have the suspect whom you do not know. So this is the extreme light sensitivity which is required in a city kind of an environment, especially outdoor. And this is the kind of difference that we bring to the table. The second can be the graffiti which can happen even in front of you. In fact, these days in societies, the children also play graffiti on your car. So suddenly you come on the next day and you'll find that few portions of the cars have been scratched. In fact, we do some of the very big showrooms of companies like Porsche and Audi, where they actually want the camera to keep seeing the car which has been placed on the showroom. Because when the customers come, knowingly or unknowingly they scratch it, and it's a big loss for them because they have to repaint the entire car. Second is there can be an accident, and there can be a regular accident, hit and run case, and you just don't need to know when the accident happened, but also the dynamics of it, including finer details. You may require something in this detail either in day or in day night. And if you look in terms of the number plate recognition with our very unique WDR technology, this is what you get with our technology, and this you get without our technology. So these are very, very small things. It can be people affected by alcohol and drugs and forming a gang, or it can be pickpocketing. So in a safe city, you need to plan for all of them, and without going into individual solutions for all of them, Axis as a company, we believe in being open. Because in the last present round of discussions we had, it was, the thing talk was optimal solution. And for an optimal solution, you need to be open to integrating with different kinds of products available in the market, because the entire safe city cannot be just CCTV or it cannot be just traffic management. It has to be a merging of all. So our main emphasis has been on being open and being able to integrate with all these systems. And we have more than 800 application development partners globally with whom we develop very unique solutions for each different city differently. For example, at Bangkok, we have put up the traffic management system, and while you are driving, you can very well see, even an auto guy who may not be very good in using an app, he can very well see which of the roads are clogged, which are the roads are not clogged, and which are the roads are like mini congested. So this kind of picture is available almost across Bangkok city, and it helps a lot in traffic management real time for the people who are driving their vehicles. One very interesting Indian success story is Nanded Safe City. Nanded, as you know, is a very critical city in Maharashtra, and it is one of the cities which has been implementing some of the finest things when it comes to building a better city to live in. For example, we have done a few installations here. It's on the bank of a Godavari river. So we have done a solution here where there is flood management. So there the cameras are integrated to the sensors which keep on having a detail on what is the level of the water and when it reaches the dangerous level. So even during the rainy season, 24/7, there is a constant watch on what is the level of flood and level of water, and it is in the dangerous mark. We have an integration here with seismic sensors, so that manages the earthquake. The best is we also have right management, which means that any vandalism or any group gathering which is going to happen, the cameras can detect. Here the system is also integrated with the social media, which means that we cultivate the information from social media like WhatsApp, Facebook, and try and find out that if at all there is any meeting which is going to happen which is antisocial or which is going to be a gathering of a certain group of community which may lead to spread of violence in near future. We have of course the same traffic management there, and in case of any eventuality we have a complete emergency response system, including the driver of an accident knowing which is the shortest way and which is the way which is not congested by which I can reach to my hospital the fastest and quickest for saving lives. We have many such installations, including we have an installation at the Delhi airport, which is again a very unique solution, where each of the retail shops, the point of sale is integrated with the cameras to give and it generates a report to give a detail of whether at the end of the day the GMR can sit and decide whether there has been any pilfering in the billing in any of these counters. So these are some of the benefits of the network video, especially access to network video. We are open platform for easy integration, exceptional image quality, works in different lighting conditions, in fact all lighting conditions. There is a continuous market innovation, and we of course are the leaders in this CXCT and overall surveillance technology. So the market leadership that we bring in. With this, I would like to thank you all for being a patient audience. Anything else? If you have any questions. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thanks for providing you an idea about the access capabilities and achievements. Thanks. I will now request Rajesh Agarwal, who is the Principal Secretary IT from Maharashtra, to kindly come on the stage and talk about the smart city initiatives he has been involved in. So I think there is something very interesting he is going to speak. So.
go to take confidence management. But smartness के बाद में एक और 11 बनते हैं. एक और 11 कब बनते हैं? When there is unity. So when we are talking of computers and machines and cameras, so how do we get एक और 11? Now, Internet of Things is no longer a buzzword. It is in operation at many places, increasing operational efficiencies. So not only people talking to one another, or processes talking to one another, or data talking to one another using Google Maps and Facebook, etc. The data is talking to one another. And when things start talking to one another, then we see the smart cities, smartness of things. So when a fridge tells me कि बहुत सारी आइसक्रीम का कोटा पूरा हो गया, when a washing machine senses कि यार रात के 2 बजे बिजली सस्ती होती है, it starts the washing cycle at 2 o'clock. So a smart electricity grid with dynamic metering can save 40% electricity. It is like adding 40% electricity without investing in new capacity generations. Smart transport. It involves a school bus telling the parents कि आपका बच्चा बस में चढ़ गया, चिंता मत करो, और 20 मिनट बाद बस से उतर गया, आपकी बेड में घर पे पहुंच गया. Easy to. Hardly cost 100 rupees per parent. Already we have axes where Axis really Cisco and DNEC etc. offering these solutions to schools and GPS and others. When we have garbage bins basically transmitting information to the garbage truck, I am full, come over, or I am not full, don't come over. This can increase the efficiency of garbage collection. When we talk of smart cities, we talk of all of this. And traditionally, smart cities have been associated with safe city concept also, as my friend from Axis was talking about. Today I am happy to release 2 documents in public domain, and I believe this is a good forum to release those documents. One is a document on voluntary code of conduct on CCTV. These documents, if Sunani can just show the cover page. Yeah, great. So this is a document which is being released now in. It's a Word document. We are releasing it in Creative Commons 4.0. Any consultant, any vendor, any city in the country or across anywhere, they can copy this document, they can use this document, they can modify this document. And we have tried to keep this document quite generic, vendor neutral, but people are totally free to basically use this and modify it. And I believe it will be very useful when we talk of whether 100 smart cities or safe cities. I believe it will be very useful document. It has 2 components. One is voluntary code of conduct of CCTV. We have about 300 operational CCTV cameras in Navi Mumbai. CIDCO is using them quite effectively. Traffic police is using them quite effectively to monitor accidents or traffic violations like lane cutting or fancy number plates. Our regular crime branch of the police is using them very effectively to solve even many theft cases and murder cases, etc. But while talking to them, talking to Navi Mumbai Municipal Council officials, we said why the government or the municipal corporation or the police, they have put up 300 cameras. Already we may have 50,000 cameras put up in housing societies, hospitals, hotels in Navi Mumbai. And at least 5,000 of these cameras are outward facing towards the roads. So why not talk to them so that we can get feed on, or feed or whenever maybe we can get feed from these 5,000 cameras. And we have 30-40 lakh residents. All of them are now carrying smartphones with great cameras. So any accidental or deliberately taken video footage by the citizens. Now this is as handy as government CCTV footages. In Boston Marathon bombing also, basically all the three things helped. Cameras put up by the government, cameras put up by hotels, also societies facing outwards towards the roads, and accidental footage taken by the people who were just videographing the event. Actually, the people had captured the bombers in their cell phones. So, voluntary code of conduct, basically, this is the first attempt in the country to codify this. We talked to hotel associations in Navi Mumbai, we talked to all stakeholders, and sort of sensitizing them to using standardized or sort of open architecture cameras, trying to save the film for 3 days or 7 days and share that with the police. So we gave the police an Android basically application to do a survey of all these housing societies and hotels to basically get information that this housing society saves people 2 days, this saves people 7 days. So any crime happens, the police will first pick up feed from the society which saves it for lesser number of days, and so on. So that also is available in public domain. And now this voluntary code of conduct we are putting in public domain. Any city can adopt this with any number of qualifications. It's totally Creative Commons. Second document we are releasing today is basically it goes beyond CCTV component, beyond Safe City. It is basically a draft RFP for or DVR for setting up a CCTV but with a Wi-Fi mesh, which can talk to any number of sensors. Could be weather sensors, could be transport sensors, could be pollution sensors. It could fill the billboards with for traffic lights with smart information. If any bus goes by, if any garbage truck goes by, they can talk to this Wi-Fi mesh and pick up information, transmit information. And we believe this should be the basic framework for any smart city solution. So this document also is going in public domain today, and I am happy that Ravi Gupta keeps on keeping events like this and getting the right kind of audience. So I think that this event will release these documents. In Maharashtra, we have many beautiful cities. Sometimes beautiful city, a heritage city is much more important than having a smart city. Mumbai is a most wonderful city, a beautiful city. It's financial capital of the country. And we are trying to add a bit of smartness, so-called smartness, by using high-tech CCTV cameras and other things. Same thing with Navi Mumbai, wonderful city. It has beautiful Safe City network and with lot of smart elements. Even municipal councils like PCMC, PMC, they are setting up a network there, the work is on. And cities like Kolhapur, cities like Nanded, on their own also they have set up wonderful components. You can't call it a full-fledged smart city component, but almost half of it. I will finish here with an invitation to all of you to come to Mumbai and just give us a call to us. And I actually see a lot of people from Mumbai here. So just keep in touch with us, and forums like these are great. So I see at least half their own faces. So thank you everyone, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for highlighting the happenings in your state, how you are looking at smart cities. May I now invite Shri Anuj Dayalji, who is the Executive Director of DMRC, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. And Delhi Metro is the hottest thing in Delhi, and their exemplary project management skills are globally famous. It's an honor to have Anujji on the stage with us. So I will request Anujji to share his experiences on building a smart city in Delhi. Thank you so much, sir.
speakers on the dais. I have just 5-6 points which I will make. Delhi Metro has played a major contribution because today we have constructed 190 kilometers. We are constructing another 140 kilometers now in phase 3. And if the fourth phase is approved, it means Delhi will have a network of over 400 kilometers, making it one of the largest in the world. Only London and Beijing, Shanghai would probably match. We came very late. First metro in the world was made in 1863 in London, and London is now 400 and a few kilometers. We started very late. 1998 we started construction, but we have moved very fast. One of the major advantages that we took of coming very late was to go in for the latest type of technology available. So what we are going in now for phase 3 are going to be driverless trains. We will have a situation where trains on line 7, line 8, we call, which are very long lines going without drivers. It's possible to run these trains. And very high frequencies of probably about 90 seconds should be possible. We are going to use satellite signaling for communication between trains. At a lesser level, all the stations have closed circuit television cameras, which gives one a feeling of safety. And we have been able to catch many people because of these CCTV cameras. We reserved a coach for ladies a few years back. So ladies feel very safe on the Delhi Metro. It's a highly policed metro. It's one of the most policed metros in the world. Nowhere in the world you have such sort of frisking that you have in Delhi Metro. We have 2 police officers on the dais here. It's very different from the type of policing which is done in other metros in the world. In London, even after the bomb blast, they rely more on intelligence rather than physical frisking. Here we have a dedicated force of almost 7,000 CISF personnel with all the gadgetry available. So there is a delay in terms of passenger service because of this frisking, but security is also a concern in our country. That is another reason. So the flip side of that is that definitely there is a lot of safety involved here. Delhi is supposed to be one of the roughest cities with the roughest population and more important here. So having such a large police presence definitely makes everybody feel much safer. Accidents, we carry 25 lakh people today on the Delhi Metro. Now, if those 25 lakhs had not been carried by the metro, they would have obviously gone on the roads. And we have saved more than 100 lives if we just compare the numbers of road accidents per day in Delhi, and about 700-800 accidents already in this process. In terms of safer health, Delhi Metro has played a major role. These 25 lakh people, if they had travelled by road, they would have led to carbon emissions because they would have travelled by polluting means of transport, and that would have definitely donated on their health. We are the first railway system to get carbon credits also because of this. And in addition, our trains have something called regenerative braking. Whenever the trains brake, 33% of the energy is recycled into the system, and that also we have converted into carbon credits. This is saving energy has become a major issue. It's a major cost factor for us. 40% of our costing is because of energy, and power companies are constantly raising their tariff, whereas we have not raised our tariff for the last 4-5 years. We don't want to be an inefficient company. So we are still making an operating profit, but we are finding it increasingly difficult to continue with this fare level, to continue to be making an operating profit. The only other option is then ultimately go for subsidies, which we want to try to avoid as a company. Trains are very safe. The signaling system is such that there cannot be a collision between 2 trains. It's not possible for a train to have accidents because of a system called automatic train protection. When the driver is driving the train, if he goes beyond the permissible speed, he will get a warning. If he still continues, he will lose control of the train. The brakes will automatically be applied when the trains are at a certain distance from each other. And there is a further advancement of that for automatic train operation, where the trains are automatically driven on their own. The driver has only a very basic function of opening the doors and closing the doors. There was an incident that you must have read in all the papers. It's one of the lead items in today's news items about a train running with open doors, which has happened. It's a very rare occurrence. In Bombay, people travel with open doors. Bombay has a very high casualty figure of every day. yesterday was an aberration. The reason being that there was a faulty alarm which was being displayed on the driver's panel, indicating as if a door is open. He cross-checked, the door was actually closed. So he had to override that system. He overrode the system, which means he came onto a manual system. When he came onto the manual system, he ran the train manually for two stations. Third station, he made the mistake of not pressing the close door button, and the train ran all right for the next station, but with open doors. Luckily, there was no injury to any passengers. Last point I want to make is about construction. We started construction in 1998. We started doing barricading. Basic safety precautions have not been followed by our construction industry. Barricading is the bare minimum. Wearing a hard helmet, a hard hat, wearing safety shoes, wearing a high visibility jacket, these are essential when you go abroad. Having safety nets, having a safety harness, these cause deaths. There have been a number of casualties on our system in spite of these, but I'm glad to say now this construction culture is gradually spreading in the country. There is a demand from the public to all the civic agencies to adopt this sort of construction, these sort of construction techniques. So overall, I would say Delhi Metro has definitely helped in having safer cities. We have been consultants to many metros which are coming up. Bombay, the initial reports were prepared by us. Then the report on which the line is currently running, that was modified by Delhi Metro. Otherwise, the line was not exactly on the route which it is planned today. Bangalore is up and running. More lines are underway. Chennai is coming. Pune is being planned. Lucknow is being planned. Cochin is coming up. Ludhiana is taking off a metro. So cities which have high populations, basically they have no other option but to go for a railway system, because the carrying capacity is very high of a railway system. You can carry up to 90,000 passengers per hour per direction. Whereas in a road-based system, it is carrying capacity is much less. The energy consumption is 1/5 of a road-based system. So for the future, if you want a safe city, the metro is one of the most important options which all cities with population of more than 3 million will really have to start thinking seriously. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anuj. I think the safety standards of metro are well known, and as you mentioned yesterday, perhaps the operation. And I think the Delhi metro has almost transformed Delhi beyond cognition. So thanks for your speech. May I now invite Dr. P.N. Ramesh, who is the Inspector General of the CRPF, and he's also the Director of CRPF Academy in Gurgaon. So having a view from security angle from him would be a good idea.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi Gupta. It's an honor to be here again. I understand it's very difficult to keep the attention glued for an afternoon, given the sessions are overstretched. And I would request a kind attention which is slightly going to be off-the-cuff presentation, which may not be status quo. I require your attention for carrying on this on-to-one talk. I have a customary way of saluting my guru, Chandrasekhar Azad, and all the institutions that I studied, Indian Show Management, Calcutta, IIT Kharagpur, from where I did my PhD, and Osmania University, I did my LLM. And today I just came here to speak about the police angle, and also the prevention of crime angle, and the prevention of inconvenience angle for the people who are going to be there as residents of these smart cities. What is smart? The Institute of NIST, some of them people are here, they call smart. I'm quoting the World Bank definition. Smart means simple, moral, accountable, responsive, and transparent. And the city means a city made up of buildings, roads, urban infrastructure, safety consciousness, security consciousness, and also the convenience and the belief that the people who reside in the cities. These smart cities have to ensure these 5 qualities not right think also as smart, apart from what the urban planners define. As we say, this a city can be defined as smart when investments in human social capital and traditional modern communication infrastructure, fuel and high quality of life, with a wise management of natural resources to participatory action and engagement. Perhaps in the Indian case, the last 2 points are the same. It's again from a bottom pyramid, a topsy-turvy pyramid kind of thing, wherein the citizen is supposed to follow myriad rules, from the traffic, to the municipal corporation, to the health, to so many other regulatory agencies. It's a topsy-turvy pyramid. Smart city concept essentially means efficiency. As right now, my colleague from the Delhi Metro, which is one of the greatest things which India should be proud of, especially the creation of Dr. A. Sridhar. In fact, when I visited Delhi, maybe around 2 to 3 decades ago, it was highly polluting kind of environment. Today, 25 lakhs of people commuting safely, securely. I also use metro often. And the same kind of demand is there in Hyderabad and many other places. That is a testimony of the success of the DMRC. Naturally, there is a need for institutions like the DMRC to replicate itself not only in Delhi, in suburbs of Delhi, in NCT, so that the fuel cost will come down, the pollution effect will be not there, safety and security consciousness will be there. Most important, the discipline of commuting, the timing and the punctuality. So that is wonderful, and I am also happy that the last part of it is also enforced yesterday, when the driver was immediately suspended. And I am glad that DMRC is not burdened with the problems of the unions, so that the disciplinary action can be taken. We know that 50 to 60% of the population are going to move to the cities by another 15, 16 years. And this is because of the natural flow of economics. The agriculture sector dependency will be coming down, and industry has already reached a zenith, and so the people will be resorting to services, and hence urban cities will be clogged with unplanned structure if you don't intervene now. And intervention means proper planning, and that's why perhaps our Honorable Prime Minister came out with an idea of 100 smart cities, 100 new cities in the industrial corridors as well as in different parts of the country. It is very noteworthy to say the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi represents the oldest city according to the Puranas in the world, Varanasi, and now planning for 100 new cities in India. That's a great tribute to the combination of the old and the new. New government is laying a lot of emphasis on this infrastructure, especially the water. When we come to water is a lifeline. 76% of our human body is water. Without water, cities and civilizations thrive. We all know history has given enough proof of that. If the water is not there, drinking water is not there, water and water treatment plants are not there, then you can imagine the collapse of the urban structure and urban infrastructure, which creates stress and which also creates its own public agitations, which in turn will lead to deaths and which in turn lead to a cycle of violence, which is covered in any democracy, especially a responsible democracy. And so this new initiative is also a very noteworthy initiative, because a clean Ganga will always be able to feed the thirsty people of India, and prevent the polluting rivers and the polluting industries, pollution of the rivers by releasing the toxic waste from the industries. This is a Google map which reflects how the Ganga starts from that place and ends in Ahmedabad, traveling all the way. And so many cities have come out, all the so-called cities, major cities, including some of the mega cities, industrial cities, have come out on the banks of the river Ganges. So this project must also have urban city planning included in this, so that cleaning of the Ganges and the creation of the cities must go together, so that at least from now onwards there will be no unplanned city in the country. The crime in smart cities, we know, unplanned urban cities cannot be smart because of these following reasons. Number one, non-manageability. You have got such a huge hubris of population that you don't know who is where, whether that fellow is a Pakistani ISI agent or Hizbut Mujahideen candidate, we don't know. Recently, one of our senior IAS officers' daughter was, 2 years ago, she was raped unfortunately, and the fellow was from Baramulla. the security guard who did it. He belongs to Al-Qaeda, my Qaeda, West Bengal Al-Qaeda. A very fine officer, and he suffered, unfortunately, because of the death of his daughter, dear daughter, only one daughter has. And it's very painful incident, and because the so-called checking systems, wherein we hire a watchman and no checkup takes place because the collapse of this are unmanageable. So many housing urban societies come, they are not, some of them are registered, some of them are not registered. Who works there is anybody's guess. Number two is anonymity, not anonymity. Anonymity and anonymity, both there is a spelling mistake of the criminal. The criminals work and the crime takes place in our experience because of the anonymity. And I advise the media persons, if you are there, and my fellow policemen, that in your enthusiasm to publicize your extraordinary work, please do not reveal the secrets of investigation for becoming the 15-minute celebrity on the TV screen which is not watched by anybody. Because by doing so, you are revealing the secrets and thus the detectability of your technology becomes redundant. And that should not be resorted to for your 15-minute self-proclaimed claim of respect or publicity. Escape routes are very easily available, as one of our colleagues is telling. Commit a crime here and escape to a neighboring area. Again anonymity, again production, again protection. And shelters. Urban swallows, like for example, the Dawoodi Ibrahim gangs and the gangs in Chota Shakil gangs. They all thrive because of the shelter points. The sleeper cells thrive because of the shelter points. We have seen the attacks in this very city, in this very place, just 1.5 kilometers from the place where the hotel is the situation. We are not sure whether any such kind of activity right now is going on because of the sleeper cells, about the possibility of the sleeper cells, because everyone takes shelter in a darkness, and anonymity means darkness. And the cost of law enforcement. We say prevention is better than cure. For us, crime is like AIDS. We can only prevent it. Because the crime that happens, the cost of detection, the cost of proving, the cost of sending that fellow to gallows, and the cost of keeping him in gallows is huge. With 2.3 crores of cases pending, every day the cases adding. You can imagine the kind of load that is existing on a population police ratio, which is the worst in the context of any democratic country in the world. 7,000 people for one policeman. And that being the case, there is a need for using the existing technology, including the citizen cooperation with this. Yesterday, I am very happy to know that the YouTube and one of the passengers have uploaded the video from his smartphone, and immediately that was taken cognizance of. So citizens, because 95 crores of Indians have got accessibility to smartphones today. And that is a great advantage to us if we convert this information flow to a tool of governance. Of course, there is apathy towards the minorities. That is also a point too, because most of the so-called ghettos or the slums in this country, including Delhi, I don't want to name, they are unfortunately habited by a particular community or any particular minority community, whichever community it is. Let us not go disrespect any community of highest respect to all communities. When that community as a whole, as a person, feel alienated because of irresponsibility, because of non-accessibility to the public services, because of their lack of definitional citizenship that they are supposed to have as being citizens of the country. They do have that faith betrayed will become an easy point of flash at slightest excuse, slightest stimuli on the point of the misgoverning or malgoverning or collapsing structures of governance. So this is the point, another point which we need to take care of, so that particular communities in the world cities, in the world cities should be taken care of. So that after all, they are our citizens, they are our men. And if we don't do it, they are going to be a threat to the comfort zones that most of us prefer to stay. This is what India is. This is what Delhi is. This is what Toronto is. I was just coming down. Gurgaon is supposed to be the fastest city in the world. And pigs roam around. forest. And government spent a lot of money on brain control of brain fever. I don't know whether the urban city planners conveniently close their eyes when they see a pig. And this kind of things happen, and the cows and pigs and traffic. And the other day, there was a meeting and we were going to celebrate our 75th anniversary this year. I recommended to my committee that let us adopt a place in Connaught Place or any other place in Delhi as a befitting, because we sacrifice our lives for the security of the country, the maximum sacrifice is done by my organization, the CRP. And when we are doing the maximum sacrifice, we are going to do some kind of contribution. Let us adopt these children and train them in our CRP public school. It was accepted. And somebody has to take initiative. Let us not criticize XYZ. Urban planning is not working, this is not working. How long we are doing our criticizing? There are infrastructure. The Indian Railways can do something. Let Indian Railways adopt. Let DMRC adopt under their corporate social responsibility. Let L&T do something. Each traffic junction, whoever is there begging these street children. And also complain to the legal complaint authorities if there is a racket there. If a policeman collects a bribe from these beggars, let the beggar be sent to jail immediately. Somebody needs to do it. How long in central, in capital of India, 1.25 billion population? Are we going to have another Satyajit Roy or to compete for an Oscar film by showing all this and claiming that I am the greatest truth transmitter in the world? This is the question which we need to ask, and we ask ourselves. And we are doing this, and we are going to do this. And because I take this credibility to talk to you like this, because I remove Congress grass in my campus, that is bacteria. I gave a new definition to my course, CRPF, as controlling and removal of plastic pollution. That's what CRPF will call it. And let us go to our institute. I think Gurgaon, when I come, I see a lot of these bacterium grass, which local Haryana, my brothers of Haryana, call them as Congress. So this is where initiative needs to be taken, all of us, so that this is our India. This is how our communication technologies are made. Something happens in Israel and Palestine, our people come to the streets. And that is the power of the information communication technology in the smartphone. And we can do this in the reverse way. 90 crores of jasusis are there. Dilki jasusis and Dilki whatever. In our country now today, everyone can have a smartphone. Let them be reconnected by WhatsApp or something, so that the corruption or the delinquencies can be prevented. Because if any unprevented incident of corruption or delinquency is a cost to delivery system, let us avoid it. Already so much of things are pending us, so that when we prevent this, by leveraging the existing infrastructure facility, that is the human beings in our country. Students demand video recording of all information. Another great example of how we can use it. There was, in Jammu University, there was a corruption case going on of favoritism of some professors, nepotism and favoritism. The students are demanding, why don't you use this? This is another lesson for us. We can use this technology for prevention of these delinquencies on the road or the safety. Bihar minister says cell phones and non-based would encourage the rape. Whether somebody is contested it or not, I am not sure. But definitely there is something to agree upon with this in the sense, yad bhavam tad bhavati, yad bhaksham tad bhavati, yad karmam tad bhavati. What we think we become, what we eat we become, and what we do we become. Naturally, if these instruments are used by this class and some class fellow, and he uses all sorts of, he is accessible, he makes himself accessible to all sorts of avoidable sites, it's very difficult for him to become a good citizen. So these are the things which we need to block. Let's say block this kind of thing. In our academy, we block all these sites to our trainees. That kind of thing can be resorted to the schools. Violence after gang rape victims in UP. Again, today nothing is beyond the public eye. Everything reaches immediately. The way exodus took place from Bengaluru to the northeast when they heard that there was some attack going on is an example of the misuse of the technology. The power of the technology to be misused, and we can leverage it for correct use if the urban planners open up and think and there is an integration of planning. Mumbai. Some of us are from friends of Mumbai. The gangs, These gangs thrive because of the failure of governance. And to me, governance is not a concept, it is delivery. And if you don't deliver, there will be Dawood Ibrahim, there will be Mupala Lakshman Rao in Dandakarani, there will be Maoists everywhere. And nobody is going to excuse the non-governments. They will take, whenever there is a vacuum, there will be somebody to fill it up. The wars that take place, there is a competition of extortion. And this being tried again because of the failure of so many structures. The connivance of the business groups. We know people who adopt innocent faces in press conferences. Unfortunately, are also there contributing to this. So there is a need for all of us, for the entire country, to at least now to open up and call it this is one country. We are no longer dividable into elites, non-elites. We are no longer dividable into Mumbaiites and non-Mumbaiites. We are no longer dividable into Muslims and Hindus. We are Indians. And that kind of thing, when it comes, the Dawuds and all that will fall below the line. Why again urban infrastructure collapsing, and what is the thing for the safety in so-called smart cities? Today, I was told by my friends in police in the UP that for 10,000 rupees you can hire a Sipali killer in Ghaziabad. The rates of inflation are going down, but the Sipali rates are coming down, they say. Why it's happening? It's happening because of the business migration. It's also happening because all right, I will go and kill, the police can keep me in jail only for 3 months and come back. Anyway, I belong to them. It's homecoming. Again I will go. No problem. So this kind of thing that happens, when things go and no safety there, where is the concept of citizenship? Where is the concept of delivery of the services? So this happens. How the brain will be surprised to know it's son of a head constable. The police head constable. So and now the brain or even this, there's one more recently, there's Indian Mujahideen fellow, he was arrested he was from Karnataka. This fellow said he wanted to be a policeman, he could not be, he became a criminal. So there is a need for us to have a customized approach to the vulnerable sections. We cannot throw them under the carpet saying that all systems are bad. We have to remember a great English saying, let us not forget the touch of food when I count the trees. I am not counting the pigs, I am counting the trees. When I am counting, let me not concentrate only on counting, let me also know what I am counting at. So urban planning also requires this kind of thing. 26/11 attack is a very good example. Sanjay Dutt and drug mafias, you all know it. I don't have to repeat it. Salman Khan's good accent. This is what the figure shows. 26/11 is an example of utter collapse of the planning of safety, security, and followed by Ram Gopal Verma type of terrorism, which costed 3 ministers 3 musketeers to lose their jobs. One of them ended up as, of course, I don't want to say, but then you know it. Today, unfortunately, there is a lot of crime on the crime against women, naturally so. Live-in relationship, there is a need to take a call on this right from the scale, right from the schools. Increasing number of rapes, as we have said, there is a double demand of mobile phones, useless information, and explosion of useless information. And the cheap and the fake Chinese goods. The other day, I was just going through, there was a complaint. Well, let's start in. Yeah, sab kuch mikta hai, including ethics. Somebody duplicated, 2 students got up this idea. Let me put my fake Chinese iPhone phone, 22,000 rupees I will sell, and he sold. From some very low-key kind of fellow went there and bought it, and later on he came to know it's a fake one. And then somehow they could find out who the fellows are, but they are found that they are the students. So where the malls and this kind of consumer culture is doing that? Because why I am talking is safety is not a perception. It's a reality. If you have all the factors which are going to deteriorate your safety 10 years hence, you don't bother about your elementary schools, you don't bother about your urban roads, you go on giving it. Urban transport will think that all the things
you understand, some smart cities should not be a policy. I'm a great fan of John Wells, who speaks, who is the chairman of General Electric, who speaks about boundaries of the smart cities cannot be accomplished. Smartness is the mind, the thinking, and the safety, the network, the citizens live there, who all make it as a smart. Without smart citizens, there cannot be smart city. And hence, it cannot be one city, and it cannot be a gay community seat or gated communities. We have to take care of these ethical values and others also. And malls should always they should not null or nil. And the so-called private, we have got so many channels today. I was just going the other day, I was analyzing. This channel, I was so-called prime time, news prime time. 38%, 35% of the time is an advertisement, 8% is on third promotion. This one is the greatest anchor, this, that, and all that. Ultimately, it's all issue waste of time. That's why I switch over to only DD Darshan, Doordarshan, and LSD. That's what my personal example. But what I'm requesting you is, media also has a responsibility. Everything is not commerce. Everything is not advertisement. Everything is not PR. Everything is not PR. Everything is not public relations. If you understand about public relations in its true spirits, perhaps you will not indulge in acts that are so-called public relations or indulging. Fire hazards, increasing deaths, floods, earthquakes, collapse of the buildings and corruption in municipal place. This point is very, very important because I'll show you a few photographs. You go on left and right, you give people the permission to build 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 crores. And suddenly the new municipal commissioner comes, he wakes up and he says this is not that, throw, break it. Supreme Court some bill, Campapala happens. And one flat is sold by 2 public sector corporations giving loans to that to 10 people. This has happened. LIC and SBI Housing Finance giving loans to the same flat 10 to 10 people. Where is the so-called due diligence happening? On whom the citizen who has a legitimate aspiration to have a small flat in urban area to run in? Smart cities should take care of this. That's otherwise what will happen is this. This is our own Bharat Ratna, Sri Kalmadi Saab, ki Karwai. The one that you can see it here. In Delhi. And the accidents, the deaths that take place, the railway accidents, and the floods, the building collapses, the floods. And this is recently what was happening, just a month ago, earthquakes. And the building collapses because the fault commissions. Whom are the Was there any single conviction of any municipal authority who gave these commissions? What are we talking about? The deterrence of the law. No botheration for water supply, no botheration for power, ventilation, fire escape, sewerage disposal, road fund for adequate, forest thinking, green areas and temperature increase. This is what yesterday I took a photograph of my own city, Gurgaon. That's how. Nobody bothers whether there is any sewerage disposal is there or not, water supply is there, just not bother. 2 BHK, 3 BHK, itna sir, 2 BHK, send it, we'll give it. Fraud, no fraud, nobody bothers. This is how where the water, where, how many roads, what schools, where schools. And when I build a one-story house, 27 persons are asked. When great industrialists in Mumbai builds 27 houses, not even a single person is asked. These are the points which we should be addressed. Gentlemen and ladies, this is only one concept I would like to give you just to think over it, or ponder over it. If the rule of law is correctly executed, there is no need for rules of law. When the rule of law fails, that's why you create so many rules of law to cover one failure, a cascading effect of the rules of law, which everyone fails. If the police station works correctly, if the police station is allowed to work correctly, इस देश में शायद क्राइम करने की किसी का हिम्मत नहीं, वहां पर जाके रिपेयर वहां करना है. At cyber crime, I have no time. I've been big office today, you will see the office staff checking up their Facebooks, WhatsApp, and playing cards on the internet and doing no work. Hence, will to govern is important rather than visionary to govern. If will is there, urban technology will be an aid. If will is not there, urban technology will be aids. I always say, it's a conclusion slide. If you want to be best in achievement in life, you need to have this following: 6 packs, 6 peaks with 6 packs in order to conquer the 6 peaks, which are as follows. What are the 6 peaks? Knowledge, skill, correct attitude, hard work, enthusiasm, and healthy consciousness. These 6 peaks you need to start right from KG to PG. 6 packs, you know, the boys exercise and get the 6 packs in the gym. And the 6 peaks, what are the 6 peaks? Body and mind, and this is the intellect. Wisdom, external, leadership, self-actualization of the master variety, worldwide view, acceptance of the peers and others, and integrated happiness. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for the time. If there are any questions, I would love to have. Answer.
Sir,
Yes.
can we have the questions here?
Yes, sure.
So, a small, sorry. I think we had a speech which would have woken all the souls up. So I'm thankful to sir for doing this exemplary speech here. And we have the award function in the evening, and but we have one of the awardees, which is Mayor of Kota, who has to leave. She has a schedule of leave planned. So just interrupting the program, and I am inviting her on the stage to receive the award for exemplary work being done by the Kota Municipal Corporation in the field of e-governance. And I am inviting on the stage Special Secretary IT of UP, GS Naveen Kumar, to give away this award. So I think this is a great thing that both big speakers are here. So please. Give a big hand, please. Dr. Ratna Jainji, who is the mayor of Kota, she explained about the various ICT initiatives which are happening in the city. And thank you, ma'am, for being here. It was nice to see that such dynamic mayors are there who are so much caring for their cities, and they have so much passion and vision for their respective cities. And I will invite the last speaker of the session, B.B. Mishra, who is the DVG of Narcotics Control Bureau, Government of India, to kindly come on the stage and talk about the safety and secure city aspects. Give me a big hand, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Knowing that there are very severe constraints of time, I will try to be extremely brief. That may make you feel a little jumpy at times because it may not be possible to connect concepts. When listening to the proceedings of the last 2 hours, it really made me feel very proud what our techies have achieved in this country. To be very honest, I was not really aware of all these developments. So much has been done. Maybe I am one of those at the bottommost level where the technology hasn't really percolated down. So while applauding them for all their achievement, I who is lurking, whom I call a criminal, and he has to be kept at bay. What Mr. Ramesh told about the police ratio of population to police, it will make it very difficult to handle that problem with more and more numbers. You are inevitably in a situation where you have to use technology to handle that problem. So, I'm not a technologist, but then there's a forum which gives me a lot of space to talk to the technologists. I can perhaps share a couple of my concerns and probably look for a solution. Of course, in the context of safe city. This city business probably wasn't there 200 years ago. Around the year 1800, only 3% of the world population, female population, was living in the cities. 97% was in the villages. By 2000, that is roughly 200 years, and this coincides with the Industrial Revolution. The city population as a percentage of the total population in the world has grown from 3 to 47, and it is growing. And inevitably so, and it will grow, we can't help that. That's the dynamics of industrialization and urbanization. So what we thought of policing in good old days may not hold today. We have to think out of the box. Probably good old days there are very few crimes, maybe few crimes of the body, crimes against property. But large number of crime typologies have been added to that with advent of industrial revolution, with advent of technology, and with particularly the information explosion that took place after 1970 through internet and computers. I think it was Jayant Navikar who said that the information that came to the world in the first 1850 years after Christ is less than what was there in the next 120 years, and is much less than what's going to happen in 10-15 years after 1970-75. This comment was made 20 years ago. How true it was. Today with the internet you have everything at a click of a mouse. 1850 years did not give you this much of information. Today you get all the information, but this information is also available to the criminal, who is the shadowy figure sitting in that corner in darkness, about whom I don't know. Now what are the crime typologies which have been added? Internet based, of course. Mobile phone has been a very good accessory for the criminal. You talk of the drug issue, you talk of terrorism. They keep talking to each other on the mobiles, and we do intercept their conversation once in a while with due permission of the authorities. Quite often we break them. But with newer applications like WhatsApp, you can't achieve that. Criminals talking to each other, conversing with each other on WhatsApp, it cannot be intercepted. Dr. Ramesh was referring to the man from Karnataka. I think he was referring to, sorry? Yeah, IM chief was caught on the Nepal border. In fact, during his, I was privy to some of the things he told. They have been using WhatsApp so that the law enforcement authorities do not get to know. Now here the criminal has an advantage over me because of the technology. Same is true of Skype. Largely true of all internet messages. Yes, hacking is possible, but normally not done. The second type of crime typology that has been added is the economic crimes. Finally, all this crime boils down to making a little more money, which includes drugs, against which I work. So, these typologies have been added apart from the existing ones that existed for the previous 2000 years. We have, in this forum, handled very effectively. We have been told what is being done about the rail security, DMRC particularly, or about traffic arrangements. But DMRC is only a very small part of the total railway network. What about the rest of the network? Whose business is it to think of its security? We are talking of some 400 kilometers of line and 21 million passengers. Probably the Indian National Railway network is much bigger than that, and then the kind of threat it is exposed to. Terrorism is the other contribution in the crime typology. The terrorist does try to disrupt things, does try to create some kind of terror, because somebody has defined terrorism, but terror as one. You kill one to frighten millions. Just have to kill one. There could be a number of murder cases, but one killing by one terrorist has a totally different impact than 100 other killings. So all that he needs to do is to set up a bomb in a train, set up a bomb in a mall. So where do we go from here? I don't know. I am only looking forward to technology for help. We have been talking of pervasive video surveillance. Yes, we can have 50,000 CCTV cameras in Delhi. If we can have 300 in T3, Indira Gandhi International Airport, you can have 50,000 in Delhi. I did go to one of the small CCTV control rooms in a particular station. One constable sitting is looking at the whole console, which is 16 frames. There are 16 cameras at different parts of the station, and he is getting 16 pictures at the same time. His problem was which frame to look at. He said, sir, इसको देखे तो उधर गलती होता है, कैसे पता चलेगा? One man, I cannot see 16 of them. I appreciated his problem. In fact, I had no solution to offer. Can we have something like intelligent video analytics? There are softwares which can perhaps enhance the security scenario. Now with 16 frame, the person who is looking at the camera, looking at the console is getting confused. With 50,000 cameras, I don't know how many control rooms you will have. Unless there is a mechanism of finding out something, something that is suspicious that would be happening, we cannot really enhance our security by merely having the camera. Yes, we have 50,000 cameras. We will be only reacting after something has happened. Then see the CCTV footage, find out who did what. That's being reactive. Can we be a little proactive? Can we find out who is looking suspicious? Can there be a technology which can identify that this man looks suspicious, may have to be watched? So can I stop him from doing something? That is where would be technology like pattern recognition or technology for artificial intelligence can perhaps help. Somebody's gait, the way he's walking, maybe his conduct in a public place, maybe it will give him out. If you have a pattern recognition, if you have some kind of artificial intelligence built into the software, I will be really requesting my technologist friends who have done such a marvelous job so far to devote a little time to this. In fact, there can be a number of things which can be detected. It can be a face detection. It can be an orphan object detection. Somebody has left something there, it is lying unattended. The camera, through its own software, can straight latch onto that. Yes, here is an orphan object. I may miss it sitting in front of the screen, but the software will not miss it. Now that is exactly what I will be looking forward to. if there can be something. Similarly, some interception for WhatsApp, for mobile. If I have to provide a safe city, I have to be a step ahead of the criminal. If the criminal is using WhatsApp, I must know how to break into that communication to find out what is he planning to do. Unless I do that, unless I am one step ahead of him, probably I'll be chasing him my whole life, never be able to catch up with him. Similarly, database management, we have already, other speakers have spoken here, there will be volume of data which can be easily managed with software. To a safe city concept, I can only say that there are certain non-technical options also. These are the technology-based options. Something like community policing, something like reaching out through education. I'll not like to go more into it. But yes, the requirement of the day is that if you have to train 70,000 constables who are deployed in Delhi, you need to give them soft skills. I mean, I can't have a very highly developed technology and the constable on the street who has to fight it out, he doesn't know anything about it. So that is why probably the challenge for today will be to train up our own men to prove equal to the task. So these soft skills will be required. There will be a lot of requirement for funding. I am always reminded of this good old farmer in this country. He is more wise than most of us think. While planting seeds, he keeps aside a certain amount of money for insecticides. That is in case the crop is affected by pest, small, maybe 1% of his total outlay. That 1% will save his entire crop. I don't think we are that wise. We are not investing in the insecticide that we are thinking of while discussing about criminals. That investment has to come. With these words, I thank the organizers for having given me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think Vishal explained about the various issues about safety and security. I will request Anuj Muniralji to kindly give away the token of appreciation mementos to our speakers. To Dr. B.N. Ramesh. Thank you so much. And Shri B.V. Mishra. I will request Mr. Ramesh to give the memento to Anuj Dayal, please. Thank you so much. And we'll have a good photo of all the speakers.